Hey y'all, welcome back to another meditation. We are going to be talking about faith and fear today. And the way that God snatched me up in this meditation, I cannot wait to share it with y'all so that you can understand the striking that I got. It's all in love though, so let's go ahead and get right into it. We're going to be in Matthew chapter 14, verses 23 to 31. I'm not going to read all of them, but just so you guys know, we are going to be following along the story of when Jesus was walking on the water and Peter also started walking on the water too. Well, for a little bit, but we're gonna go ahead and get right into walking through this. Y'all, I have truly been in a place where I can see and feel and hear the winds of life, and I have felt so off. Y'all ever just feel off in your spirit? Like, I've just been feeling like I'm seeing all of this stuff happen. I'm seeing all this stuff that I'm up against and I'm facing, and it's just really had me in a place of dryness, honestly. And I know that I have faith, but I haven't really been feeling like that faith is ignited, and I didn't really understand why until the Lord let me know the reason why I'm feeling off in my spirit is because I have started to move with the winds. There is no stability, child. Things are just swaying every which way, and so am I. I'm not standing on what the Lord said. I'm not standing on what he promised. I'm forgetting what the Lord has said to me personally in his word, and I have just begun to allow the cares of life to get me to go in every which way. So because of this, the Lord led me to Matthew chapter 14 to read about what was it really like when Peter walked on the water and when the disciples saw Jesus walking on the water. So the very first thing that's important for us to understand is that the disciples were obviously afraid when they saw Jesus, right? They freaked out so much that they thought he was a ghost, y'all, a ghost. And scripture says that they cried out in fear. And honestly, how many times have we just mistaken an actual move of God for something else in our lives? We blame ourselves, we blame the enemy, we blame other people, we blaming it on everything except for actually acknowledging the fact that this could be God. And all because what we're looking at is a little terrifying, it's a little scary. And because we become fearful of what we see, it's a blinder to us to be able to see the Lord. I think about the disciples and how they have been historically probably walking with Jesus for about 1.5 to 2 years at this point. Even if it was dark, I feel like they should have recognized his silhouette. You know what I'm saying? Like, they should have at least been able to say, out of all the miracles that I didn't see Jesus do and it's kind of look like him, if somebody was gonna be walking on the water, it probably is him. Why did their minds not go to the potential of this being Jesus, but it went to the potential of it being a ghost first? That's because they were afraid, and fear blocks you from being able to have faith in what you know about the Lord. And when they were afraid, this is what Jesus said. He said, listen, it is not a ghost, it is me. He said, take courage, do not be afraid. This was not something to merely comfort the disciples. This was a command from the Lord to not be afraid and to be courageous. And this command is very important because Jesus knew what was coming next. And a lot of times, this is the same way he will act in our lives. The Lord will give us a specific command beforehand because he knows what's coming next. And most of the time, it won't make sense to the emotions that you're feeling about your current situation. The Lord will tell you to be silent right before somebody start lying on you and you ready to defend yourself, you ready to tell them off, you ready to blast everything, but the Lord just told you to be quiet. He'll tell you to stay still, and a few moments after that, it seems like you got opportunities knocking down your doorstep, like it's everything you've ever dreamt of being offered to you at your feet. But the Lord said, be still. He'll tell you to move in a situation where you feel like you in a straitjacket. I ain't got nowhere to go. You talking about move? What am I supposed to do? Where am I supposed to go? So the Lord always gives you a command that answers to the emotion that you're feeling at that moment because he knows what's coming next. And so in this moment, the disciples are afraid and he says, take courage, don't be afraid. And it's like, hold on, I'm fearful right now. So what do you mean? But that's why it's so important to pay attention to the commands of the Lord, because it may not always make sense, but he know what he's talking about. So then I thought that like this command from Jesus must have brought some comfort to the disciples, right? Like they're like, oh, okay, like Jesus is you. Okay, cool. Like we can relax, we can woosah. But that's actually not what happened, at least not for Peter. Now, Peter was bold and he was the only one to speak up to even be willing to attempt to walk on the water. But pay attention to what he said. He said, Jesus, if it's you, then tell me to come and walk on this water with you. And that means that even though he was confident enough to know that if it was Jesus, he would be able to walk on that water, he still had a little bit of doubt because he was still a little bit afraid. Like, what if this isn't you? And the Lord showed me something here. He said, Gabryelle, are you even ready for what you're asking me to prove to you? Sometimes we will mistake confidence for actual underlying pride. We'll mistake, oh, I just need some reassurance, God, for doubting and lack of faith. We want God to show signs and empower us and give us more confirmations and all these things, because actually deep down in our hearts, we're still afraid and we still got a wee bit of doubt that this might not actually be you. And the thing about this is it's okay to have enough faith to say, God, I know if this is you, then I'm gonna be successful. But if you don't have enough faith to begin with, once you start on the journey, you're gonna start sinking just like Peter did. So Peter says, Lord, if it's you, like, come on, tell me to come out on this water and walk with you. And Jesus says, come on. And I realized when I was reading this that Jesus told Peter what to do, but he didn't tell him how to do it. Because we gotta remember, we're talking about water here. Ain't no human before this time ever walked on no water. They've never seen it, and they've definitely never done it themselves. But the mere command from Jesus to tell him to come was enough power behind the command of Jesus to help Peter to do something that he didn't even know how to do. And this is where I got striked so deeply, y'all, because I can't tell you how many times I have told the Lord, God, tell me what to do. God, tell me where to go. Lead me, guide me. And then he'll tell me, but I become so consumed with how I'm going to do it. Let's just say, for instance, that the Lord answers you with the come on and walk on water. And you're just so consumed with how you're going to do it because you know it's not humanly possible. You know that you can't make it happen on your own. You know that the laws of physics completely defy what it is that the Lord is telling you to do. And just apply that to whatever situation. The Lord's telling you to start a business, you ain't got no money. The Lord's telling you to leave a job that pays you well. He's telling you to go and speak to the nations and you feel like you got a stuttering problem or you don't even know how to talk. The things that God tells you to do is not for you to worry about how it's going to happen. That's his business. It really doesn't have anything to do with us. Our job is to obey the command. Have enough faith to obey the Lord. The power of how it's going to happen is all wrapped up in the command that Jesus gives. If he tells you to go and start a business, the how you're going to start that business has already been taken care of in his command of telling you to do it. All you got to do is step out on that water and believe that water itself is going to become a firm foundation for your feet simply because you are obeying God. You're not just obeying a friend. You're not just obeying a parent. You are obeying the Lord, and there is power behind what the Lord tells you to do. And I know there's some of us like, well, I ain't worried about the how. I already know that if I do what God tell me to do, then I'm gonna be all right. And it's like, okay, cool. Let's keep going on in the story, because Peter was like this too. Like I said, Peter was at the point where he was still a little scared, but he said, all right, God, if you tell me to walk on this water, then I'm gonna know it's you. And I know that my feet are going to land flat on this water and I'm gonna be able to walk. And that's what happened. But then something comes that makes you forget that God is the God of the how. It started getting a little windy outside. It started storming and Peter started focusing on that, and that's when he began to sink. And the Lord revealed to me that Peter wasn't afraid of the wind. He was afraid because he forgot that God was the one that called him out to that place to begin with. There are a lot of things happening in our lives that we're not necessarily afraid of that specific thing, but fear has seeped into our lives because we forgot that God was the one that called us to this place to begin with. God is the one who told us to do this thing to begin with. And just because God tells you to do something doesn't mean there's not going to be some winds, doesn't mean it's not going to be some storms. And the second you forget and lose focus on the fact that God told you to come, you will become crippled in fear. And when you're crippled in fear, you have no faith. And the places where there is no faith, fear will fill them. Anytime you lose focus on the Lord, whether that be because of disobedience, distractions, distance from him, whatever it may be, you are going to start to sink, because it is impossible to walk on water without faith. And it's impossible to have faith if you are not focused on the Lord. And God told me, Gabryelle, if you want to be in this next season, you cannot be afraid to mimic what I do. Our goal as Christians is to become like Jesus. And Jesus walked on water. water. Jesus performed miracles. Jesus spoke to storms and they became still. He said that we were going to do even greater things than he did. So you can't be easily shaken by every little thing that goes wrong, or even every big thing that goes wrong. You cannot allow yourself to forget that the Lord told you to come in the first place. And here's the thing. Remember when I told y'all that Jesus knew what was coming all the way back when he told them to take courage and to not be afraid? He knew that Peter was going to sink, but he let it happen. The Lord does not intend to let you drown, but he will let you sink a little bit. He will let you get a little nervous. He will let you get pushed against the wall. He will let you be surrounded by absolutely no way out, and then allow winds and storms to come in that situation simply to test your faith, to build your faith, to strengthen your faith. Peter started sinking and he was like, whoa, Lord, help me. And all of a sudden, it wasn't, if you're really the Lord, you'll tell me to walk on this water. It became, I know you're Lord, help me, save me. Do you see how his faith increased in just that little time? Sometimes God will allow you to start walking on the water, and those of us that were sure and confident that this is the Lord and we're walking out here on water, we got distracted. We might have missed him somewhere, lost our focus, and we started to sink, and the Lord led us. And he let you get to that point so that you stop questioning if he may be God, and you know for certain that he is. Building our faith is so important to the Lord, because without faith, it's impossible to please him. And I don't know about y'all, but I want to be pleasant to the Lord. Without faith, we can't even have a relationship with God. We can't hear him. We can't know him. We can't even exist in this life and have God be part of it without faith. So that's why sometimes the Lord will take you down these journeys in these situations. And at the end of the day, it's to strengthen your faith. And so today, ask the Lord, if you are in the middle of some winds and some storms, you don't know what's going on, remember that Jesus can make the storm stop just like that. And so if you are dealing with some winds that you are feeling in your life and the Lord isn't making them stop, it's time for you to stop and ask the Lord, how is this strengthening my faith? What area of my life are you building faith in? Maybe the Lord wants you to obey him more. Maybe he wants you to listen to him more. Maybe he wants us to trust in him more, depend on him more. Whatever the area may be, there is an area of focus that the Lord is concerned about when it comes to your faith, because he knows that you absolutely need it. I pray that you guys enjoyed this devotional on today, and I really just want you to take into prayer and ask the Lord that question for real. God, where in my life are you trying to increase my faith? Because it'll help you to see a situation differently, and it will help you to get your focus back on Christ, because that is where it needs to be. Make sure you guys check the description box for all the prayer line information and a place where you guys can submit prayer requests. And like I always tell y'all, comment down below. Let me know what you think. Let me know if this sparks some revelation in you. If you felt convicted at all, if you felt called out, if this was good, if this was transformative, if you have your own revelation that you want to share, drop it down in the comments, because like I said, we are literally just walking this thing out with the Lord together. I love you guys so much, and stay tuned for a different type of content that we're going to be introducing to YouTube very soon. But until then, I will see y'all in another devotional next week. Mwah!